Hello, hello. Hey, Aqua. Hey, Metal. Hey, Massive Panda. What's going on? We got the chill stream as usual on a Tuesday night for 10 o'clock. Sitting back, doing a little drawing and talking about whatever comes up, whatever I can think of. Maybe whatever, me and my whoever comes in can think of. Hey, Mighty Geek. Yeah, he's still getting ready. Well, I was, but of course I am on now. I am here. So yeah, we have that chill stream. I don't know what I'm gonna draw for a character. Just hope everybody is doing good. For those that don't know, last week I announced I'm going to Saskatoon, Saskatchewan for a con for May 5th through 7th. Friday, May 5th through Sunday, May 7th. Hey, Jeff, how are you? So, if you're near there and want to come see me in person, I'll be there. Going to be at North York this Saturday, St. Andrew's School for a con there. Hey, Captain Finity, good day. Hey, Mike, how are you? How is everybody? And everybody, make sure you're hitting that like button, sharing this out. Let everybody know I'm here tonight. You know, as usual, of course. Every Tuesday night, just chilling. Draw the characters for the 24 comic hour. I want to leave that as a surprise because actually I still have to come up with my concept drawing for them. There's gonna be three. It's gonna be three stories. Yeah. Me, Mighty Geek Studios, and Chris. From Hero Shack. Um, on I think October 7th it is the first Saturday in October are planning to do a 24-hour live stream um for what's supposed to be, yeah, it's the Saturday May 7th. Um for what's supposed to be a 24 do a comic in 24 hours. So, yeah, we're hopefully going to do that. Um that's a couple months away. Um well, more than a couple, of course. And of course, by then I'll probably just be getting back from Los Angeles, partying with Dillard. So, hey. And whoever else happens to come to Dillard's pool party, well, I'm there on the 17th of September. But that's a lot said in a few seconds. Um, so, what's everybody got going on? How is everybody out there doing? Hope everybody is feeling fun and frisky. Okay, I don't know why I think you're feeling frisky. Um, Maybe I've gone too far with saying frisky. I don't know. You tell me. But also, let's see. Who do we have? Who do we want to draw? Who haven't we drawn of characters that people know of mine? Uh, I'm looking through my characters. You know what? Oh no, let's do villains. Let's go to villain. I don't know whether I've drawn her. I'll have to check. But I'll bring up a couple pictures. Although I don't think I got the good pictures here. The change in costume. Of course, I'm talking about Sunset Stream shared on the Twit twats. Well, thank you, Captain Finity. Thank you very much. Okay, so here's an old picture, sunset. I've changed it. Of course, we got this coming up here. She is sunset for Snowdrift number 2. But that's not her. Let's see. I don't think I've done Pisces in a while. You know what? Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll do Pisces and I will do Aquarius tonight. Couple characters that are a bit fishy. I'm not sure whether they'll take me the whole time, but hey, it is what it is, right, folks? What has.
Hey,
Hey, Metal. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, that's good. Oh, and that's something I should share off too. Well, Metal knows I've been working on some new trading cards.
Oh, do I?
Well, you did do the editing for the back of them, so.
I don't remember.
Oh, let's see. Let me.
I'm running purely on caffeine right now.
So here's. I should have brought up the Clip Studio version. Here's the back of the Toxica one. You said something about you didn't get what I meant or whatever for
The very first sentence in
yeah.
Toxico was not very literately clear.
Yeah. Well, Samuel was born to an overbearing father and a mother who went along with it. I was just trying to say that she went along with his dad, and his
Oh,
overbearing.
see, the way that sentence is structured, it looks like father and mother are the same subject.
Oh, okay.
Right, like you're referring to both parents. So it looks like you're saying an overbearing father and mother who went along with it all.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
A good way to distinguish that is an overbearing father as well as a mother who went along with it all, or something like that.
Yeah. I the thing was, so in such a tight space for
Yeah, I get it.
I'm like trying how do I say this and then my grammar being what it is, of course. Captain Finity says, caffeine rules, cheers, and Aqua
Yeah.
puts a YouTube symbol in trading cards. So,
If as well as
yeah,
doesn't fit, I mean there's quite a bit of empty space after and. You could also put with a mother who went along with it all, and that would also distinguish them as two different subjects.
and you're saying with a mother?
Yes, that would also distinguish them. An overbearing father with a mother who went along with it all. Anything that separates the two makes it clearer.
Okay.
But when I read that like 3 times, I'm like, how is both the mother and father? I'm like, what does went along with it all mean?
Okay, so there I changed that. Trading cards, huh? Good diversification says. Yeah. Well, I've done trading cards before. I have my main 7 heroes with trading cards, but I'm working these more with characters that appear in the first, 3 comics that I have out. Of course, everybody received a Canadian Shield one, although the Canadian Shield one that I'm going to be printing up has been slightly modified. Um, because I noticed I have in the card set stuff on Twitter that or Google stuff that I have about it. I have durability, and for the first card, for some reason, I forgot to put durability on with the
Oh, so it was
Canadian.
just short.
So I've now added that on. I moved things around a little too, hopefully made things look a little bit bigger. It's hard to tell when it's, on your computer what it's
Oh,
going to
hey, yeah,
look.
you're right. It just ends at wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that, and because when I went to do, my Snowdrift one, and I'm noticed, where's the durability? Ah, crap. So
You see, and I probably would have actually pointed it out, but a long time ago, I was supposed to help you figure out like the power stuff, and we
yeah,
were gonna have like a call and stuff, and that just never happened. So I didn't even know what all the stuff you were gonna put on the back was.
yeah, yeah. Well, heck, I knew it. Like it's just it's been a while since you probably accessed that thing that I have on Google Docs about this stuff. You know, and I thought I had put everything on from it, each of the categories, and I was, like I said, I was going through the snow to do snow drifts, and I was like, where's the durability on this card? Because I was just gonna copy and paste. I basically just used um the Clip Studio file that had the Canadian Shield stuff. That way I just have to alter the green bars, right? And the text. It's a lot easier than trying to make all this stuff up again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's what I was even saying on Dillard's. Is like in the future, before you get down to like the actual lettering and art and stuff, if I'm gonna edit it, I should just go in and make sure the script is right so you can copy and paste it.
yeah. Although sometimes I change the script slightly from the script, or change the.
No, I mean that's fine. I can always do another pass afterwards,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
probably better if the first draft is correct.
yeah, yeah, and that's something I learned. I didn't put them through enough passes this time, you know, and that's my fault. That's not yours. You know, I should have thought, put it through a pass till you come up with nothing.
Yeah, it's not like I have the raw file where I can edit the text or anything like that myself.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, but it's a learning process. It's better than the first one for mistakes.
Yeah, yeah, I would say by far.
You know, and I know. Well, you and Dillard were on the other night, and well, he was with some other people, and you guys went through it, and you caught a few mistakes, and then couple ways that I worded some things which I don't think were technically wrong, but
Yeah, probably not. And there might have even been things that I gave you options on, but
yeah,
I'm not like an editor in the regard of like somebody's EIC or something like that. I'm just a freelance guy here, giving advice and proofreading. That's up to you. It's your comic at the end of the
yeah,
day.
yeah, and a couple people were telling me about it, and they tried to blame you, but I'm like, no, I'm the one that did the stuff. It goes by me at the end. You know, and it's me who either messes up and putting it in, doing your changes or whatever that you say to the dialogue or whatever.
Yeah,
So
I think the more proper title is I'm a copy editor.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. Unfortunately, there can be so many different ways to say different stuff. But maybe I should put that in next time. And and I
The
gave it a
director has the final say.
yeah. Like, and I think for the first page where it's like in the first caption, there's in the ones that got out, it's missing the word "to" in there, I think, and that
Yeah.
was just you had it there, and for some reason I just didn't spot it, or
Yeah,
some
yeah, because I went back and looked too. I'm like, yeah, no, I definitely corrected that. That was there.
yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, the what changes that you showed me for the Canadian Shield, I can't check on because they were all in the correction folder, and when I thought everything was done and it's printed up, it's like, okay, let's delete this, get this
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
off my. Although, would I don't think I did. Well, you just did text to the stuff, and I'm not drawing
All the
anything.
Snowdrift stuff is
Yeah,
all
all
still
this.
in Discord, so that one's fine. We
Yeah,
we just it was more efficient for me to just do comments on Drive
yeah,
because that's how I did it with Dillard as well.
yeah. And yeah, like yeah, I found that a bit more efficient. Sometimes it was a little hard to figure out which ones to which. I know there was a couple times I asked you a couple questions here or there, but you know, yeah, it was probably way more efficient. And hopefully, I
Well,
haven't.
I think in the future, and this is what I prefer to do when I'm editing with people, I just hardly get the chance. In the future, and before anything goes to print, we should just schedule an actual video call where we
Yeah,
can go through it one last time to make sure everything's fine.
yeah, that's a good idea. You know, like I said, I chalk it up to a learning experience. You know, Oh heck, I was smart and did. I think I only did one pass on Snowdrift, and then for some reason, I decided I should do a second pass on Canadian Shield, and you caught a couple more things. But this tells me, make sure do as many passes as I can, till you find nothing. If you know,
Yeah.
because hopefully, if you went through and found nothing, that means there's nothing there.
Yeah, yeah, but I can see why people would immediately want to blame me,
Yeah,
given the fact that typically in comics, when you see the word editor, that is the person who has the final say in anything.
yeah, yeah. But
Which is another reason why I specifically asked Timothy not to put me down as the editor. I wanted to be a dialogue coach.
yeah. Well, that's why I knew even with me, I asked, did you want something different than editor? you know, and you said it was all right. So you know,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I was also expecting you to take more of my advice and stuff than Timothy would. So,
yeah. Hopefully I did. I forget everything that you said. Mighty Geek Studio says the.
yeah.
Like I
You, I
said,
actually still don't own a copy of Melvin #1.
I own a digital copy that I paid for. I'm supposed to be getting a physical.
Yes, the editor does take the blame for everything. I know.
Yeah. Well,
It's the real reason Rick hired me, is so he could have a scapegoat.
well, in a sense, I'm an editor too. I'm just not the one. I'm the editor in chief. I think is what might be referred to as before, because there was your editor and then there's the editor in chief. I think there was both those positions.
Well, in literally every other medium, the term would be director. It's just in comics, editor and director are the exact same term because it comes from magazines and newspapers where that's the case too.
Yeah. And because they're my books, and especially because I'm doing the lettering, you know anything that doesn't get changed from what you say or what you've put in, you know especially the stuff that you said that needs to be changed, and not the options. Options are options. um I say it falls on me, because you know you can't control what I do or don't do with putting
Oh
stuff
yeah,
in.
I literally have no control at the end of the day.
So what am I doing? I guess I'll show the front of the cards.
And honestly, it doesn't even look that bad compared to what I've been doing. I got suckered into, well, I wouldn't say suckered. It seemed like an okay idea at the time. I was asked to be a judge for a Newgrounds Festival writing contest for the upcoming fest.
Uh,
And me and some other people I know, there's like 5 of us that are judging. And we're like, this won't be that bad, right? It'll be a fun little community thing. There are 80 entries to
oh
the
wow.
contest. I've gotten through like 12 of them.
Oh, lovely.
Of the 12 that I've read so far, the 12th one was the best one that I could grade, like, and judge. And I gave that one like an 8 out of a total of 25 points. So it's not looking very. I kind of want to shove chisel through my head.
Ouch. So there is. Can you see on Discord what I'm showing? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can.
There is going to be the front of the Toxico card, taking the cover basically,
Yeah, yeah.
and well, taking everything off and putting his name on. And his name is sort of see through some of it, so it ends up with a little bit of a different look when you look at the back of it. So I'm taking Vic King's art for the front. He said I could use stuff for whatever, well, with my coloring of it, and also for Snowdrift, and then some art from inside the book for Messenger for his front cover, or not cover, but for the front of his card. Those are the three new cards that I've made, and hopefully with when I do what's the name of it? When I get my next round of stuff on crowdfunding for Canadian Shield 3, Snowdrift 2, Flame 1.
Yeah.
There'll be cards for all those guys.
Yeah, I was trying to remember the other day. I think it was on that Diller panel, but it is the flame that's the next one, right?
Yeah, yeah, you were correct about
Yeah.
that. I listened to that little part where you guys went over. I didn't listen to much before or after. Dillard was really taking me to town, for lack of a better way of saying it.
Well, I mean, if anyone deserves to, it's Dillard.
Yeah. Some ways I wish I would have been there though, but Dillard
Oh no, that
usually,
would have been more fun because then it would have been him and I getting to yell at you in person.
yeah,
But then you also get to defend yourself, so you know it's content, it's entertainment.
yeah. No, did I? Hey, Master Pandas. Hey, Metal, what do you think the chances that Indie Planet gets our comics online sometime in this decade?
I think the chances are fair. They're running behind on quite a few things, but I did see Twitless was also waiting for them to get one of his up, and just I think it was yesterday, right? Yeah, it was Monday. Omega Girl issue 3 had went up for print on demand, so they're probably working through their backlog. I'm hoping sometime either this week or next week. I'm not holding my breath, but I am holding out hope.
Okay. Well, yeah, and if anybody's looking for a second chance at Canadian Shield 2 that never got it, it is up on Fund My Comics. And who
Oh,
knows?
nice.
So that it's been up there for a couple weeks now. So hopefully people will go buy it, trying to get a new crowd. Unfortunately, it's a site that's starting out, so it doesn't have a lot of traffic, shall we say, which is no fault of its own. Heck, it's what, 2 months old now, 3 months?
Yeah, I mean the traffic. I mean to be fair too, unless you are on Kickstarter specifically and you are making a comic that appeals to the type of audience that Kickstarter pushes things to, you don't get a lot of traffic anyway, right? Like how much of your traffic is actually people surfing Indiegogo or whatever and buying your book versus what you promote to it.
Yeah.
So it's new, but like anything, especially when you're comics and the oddball, you're going to have to be the person that pushes to it anyway.
Hey, JR, how are you doing? Got JR here. Uh, and he
But I did
just,
put the link in the chat for you.
thank you. Make sure you put a link in the chat to your stuff too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would remind people since there's only, I guess, 5 days left of it for the survey. Which actually got quite a few people actually bother to fill it out since I bugged them personally. But I am making a magazine, and I have a reader interest survey that will help figure out what's going to be in the magazine. This is a blog article about it, and you can find the link to the survey in there too.
How are you doing, JR? Hey, JR, something you might be interested in. I'm got four new or three new cards coming up that I'm going to be making, trading cards in the next week or so. Might even have them printed, but since I got the last thing I needed to correct on the one done, uh, tonight with metal here, and that's a Toxico card, a Snowdrift one, and a Messenger one. Okay, so cool. Yeah, well, I'll have them by the time I'm with me when I'm passing through Edmonton. So if we meet up, yeah, I'll probably just give you them if you want. Then again, like I said, I'm getting in at like 8:50 at night, and I got to be on the probably where the bus is taking me to Saskatoon to. Yeah, the Snowdrift one is the art's by a guy named Vic King. He actually has a book over on Indiegogo right now. So he said I could use the art for whatever. I colored it myself, but he did the background and the pencils and inks, if you will. Yeah, if we meet, I'll buy you breakfast. Yeah, good. Yeah, maybe we can meet at I don't know 8, 8, 8:30 in the morning. If that's
That would be just around breakfast time,
yeah. Well, I'm
depending on
just
how late you eat breakfast.
yeah. Well, I'm just thinking because the bus leaves at 10. I want to be there at least 15 minutes to half an hour early. Although because I don't want to take any chances on missing it.
Yeah, for me, breakfast was always 6:30 at the dot. But that was just because of like getting used to school schedule growing up.
Yeah, I never usually ate breakfast growing up.
No, I had to. I had athletic type stuff
uh,
first period of the day, right? And also just personally, I would go for like a mile or two jog before I started getting ready. I was up at like 5:30 every single day before school.
yeah, for school for me, I was I was not a big fan of school. So I was,
Oh, I wasn't. I was using them. Like I would always jump around between athletics. I was in golf for a while just so I could be like get to know what it's like to golf. Other being poor and not being able to afford my own golf clubs and stuff like that.
well, I don't think that we had stuff like that for in our athletic programs. At least not in my high school.
I did judo in high school for a while. That wasn't beginning of the day. That was right around lunchtime.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I saw something interesting, I was just like, cool. I don't care about school, but I'm going to use your programs for my own gain. I think that's supposed to be the point of being in school anyway.
Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna have to do her on things.
Actually, in some ways, I actually had like negative school spirit. It was just like, no, you owe me. That's why I'm in here.
Yeah, I just Yeah. I definitely didn't really have that much school spirit, if any at all. I might have.
I would skip pep rallies even though they were mandatory. I refused to walk for graduation. I hated school.
Uh, oh, what do I do for a pose for this guy? Aquarius. I don't really want to do him in water. Just
It's
totally.
Scrooge McDuck pogo sticking on his trident. uh, this, yeah, that's the biggest problem. Thinking of poses. There's so many poses that you can choose from, and some go for a character and some don't. What do I do? So what to talk about now? I don't
Yeah,
know. When I draw poses for characters, I don't think about it too much
yeah,
because I like that principle of just like natural poses. So
yeah.
I just look at the character. I'm like, if you were standing here, if you were in a scene, how would you naturally stand? And sometimes like I've got a lot of cocky characters, so they'll have like interesting poses. But I also have a lot of people that are just like normal people, so they just stand there like, hey, what's up?
Hey, Intense Webs, how are you? Good seeing you here again. So, any thoughts on the Tucker Carlson thing?
Rest in peace, Fox. Because I mean, this decision could be worse for them than it's going to be for him.
Yeah.
Yes, let's fire the only guy bringing any ratings to our channel.
Well, they said they departed on mutual agreed terms.
Yeah, they say that. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah. I'm not sure either, so was he fired? Did he want to leave? There comes a question of that, and it's I don't know. It's like, yeah, it is a bit crazy for him. Well, if they fired him for them firing him, but if he left, and then the question, he's obviously going to land on his feet no matter what he does, but it's a question of how long might depend on some, contract stuff, you know, that, like he
Yeah,
can't,
yeah. Like, I feel like
a
the
non
Daily Wire
complete
is going to probably
clause.
try to snatch him up.
Intent says other rumored fires are Maria Bartomito, Judge Jeannie Pirro, and Hannity. Ah,
Mm,
that they're coming.
maybe I
That's
don't know. I haven't heard too much about it.
yeah, that's just weird. Are they trying to change their whole image? You know,
Yeah, I don't know.
if that's true. Not
A lot of people said it came directly from Rupert Murdoch, which doesn't surprise me.
uh, you know, they see what's happening with CNN and what they've, their stupidity got them. I would think you wouldn't want to go down the same road. Mighty Geek says, I've taken your survey, Metal.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You're the 20th response. Congratulations.
Cool.
It comes with no
Hey,
additional
Ninja.
prize.
He was the 20th. I was the first. Intense Web
Yeah.
says all of them should be able to retire financially if they get laid off. Oh yeah. Well, as long as they were smart with their money, and I'm sure those people were.
He says it came from his kids of the new guard, dad listening to the kids. I don't know much about Rupert's kids. I do know he's kind of like a neocon, so already he probably wasn't sitting too happy with some of the stuff Tucker said, but he's a businessman first, so he was probably letting the money flow anyway. If his kids are less business first, I could totally see that being the influence.
Yeah. It's just obviously crazy. I figured it was a topic
That
we could
does
do.
tend to be the next generation, right? It's like you know, specifically my generation and lower
Yeah.
tend to be less business first, right? They do kind of let their like ideology and opinions and stuff make the decisions for them, and I think to some degree, yeah, you know, that's fine, right? Like if you are a declared religion, you don't want people doing things for your company that aren't part of that religion, but for most of the stuff, business first is the way to go.
Yeah. For sure. Or if you're, or if your company has, standards, certain standards, you don't want to go against those too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But your standards in a lot of ways are a business first decision, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say In-N-Out Burger or Chick-fil-A, both of those are Christian companies, right? They operate in a manner of the fact that their owners are Christian, and that influences a lot of their business decisions and has kind of become part of their business. So following that is a business first perspective.
Yeah. Joshua says, I heard Tucker was fired because of a. Is it Metal that is it at the Metal that is speaking on the panel? Yeah, Metal is here with me because
Yeah, so there was like a discrimination lawsuit, Joshua. Nobody's sure how much that had to play in it, but it could have been like one of those final straws that broke the camel's back. They were looking to get rid of him anyway and just finally had an excuse.
yeah. Well, although he wasn't named in it, it was it did come about a week after the whole one with Dominion and them settling with Dominion. So whether that had something to do with it too, is hard to say. Uh, Anything else we can talk about? Not that I don't
Anything
mind.
more interesting?
Yeah. Like, I don't mind talking about this stuff. I brought it up, so, just to get the things going. Is that the new Halo 2 game? No, it's not. Hey, Fly Fox, how are you? Yes, and for those that don't know, Fly Fox Pro will be the penciler and inker on Flame #1.
Oh, he's going all in. He's not just inking this time.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, he's going to be inking Snowdrift #2. So, uh, and it looks like I'm going to be doing pretty much everything on Canadian Shield #3, which I can give a look. I got it's not nowhere near complete the first page, but where is #3? Do I? Oh, there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Tucker did purposely avoid the Dominion stuff. Well, he was actually pretty consistent. While he would air people that thought stuff was stolen, like in conversations, he was pretty consistent on the fact that he thought the media had stolen and it had nothing to do with rigged votes or anything. It's like that the media basically decided the election. But he's been against corrupt media for a long time now.
Yeah.
You can find any of his speeches about it. It's like, you can't trust anyone in the media.
So here's the beginnings of page one. Oh, there's one thing that I was trying to do that salt pepper type of hair, but I'm not doing it really good for him. I used a spray. I think I'm gonna take it off for this panel for this guy. I've got to do some corrections on him still too.
Yeah, I agree. He was right about that too. I think that's where it went. No, you don't need a spray. You need shoot. I don't know if you can convert Photoshop brushes into Clip Studio. I got this brush, this amazing brush. I love this brush. I use it for everything. I fine tune it for what I need, and I found it oddly enough in when I was getting assets for making RPGs, right?
Yeah.
And it was called the dirt road brush or whatever. I just call it my dirt brush. And it was there so you could draw like dirt roads on maps, right? And I started using this particle brush, and whoever programmed it, it is just so good. I literally use it for everything. Like that fake almost like marker, that organic marker feel on like the on tour cover. All of that came from manipulating that dirt brush. This is the best brush I've ever had.
Yeah. So this is the beginnings of page three. I'm actually I was trying to work on it once a week, but I'm gonna finish up getting page five fully colored of Snowdrift 2, and then I'm gonna except for helping working on the one comic that I'm being paid to work on, I'm gonna be focusing on getting Canadian Shield 1 completely remastered. So hopefully it'll be done in a month and a half, maybe two at the most. So when I can get new printings of that done up. Although I do need Sketchbook to finish his cover for it because he's supposed to be the person doing the cover for it. But he's been taking quite a while. But I guess back to this. Let's see. Fly Fox says Fox News didn't like him and they canned him. Simple as that, I think. He'll come back with something huge because he's a phenomenon. Oh yeah, I definitely agree with the last part. I don't know how much they liked him or didn't like him.
Oh, of course they didn't. Again, like, you can look at the person who runs the channel. You can look at their history. To this day, they are still like George Bush neocons. Like that. That is their opinion,
Uh,
right? And Tucker is definitely more of a center right. He's still definitely right, populist, right? So he's kind of like the opposite of the neocons. The opinions that he puts out are not necessarily the opinions of the network as a whole.
yeah. Let's see. Intent says Tucker had that stupid fake laugh enough for me to move on from him. Reality check that most of us go through. Uh, Tucker wasn't supposed to get popular, but he did. Yeah, because he was he spoke very plainly. A lot of times, and
Yeah,
he
and he's
got
one of those guys too that like if you were to rewind like 2 decades, his views would be considered liberal.
yeah. You know, he just spoke a bit of for lack of a better way, truth or whatever, or I found, you know, he questioned people's, you know, reasoning, when it seemed unreasonable. So, and people like somebody that, he shot from the hip or whatever,
Yeah, yeah. No, he was definitely, but you can never tell how honest anyone is on a
Yeah,
network. But he definitely came across as more honest than anybody
yeah,
else. Yeah, he came across genuine, as
y-
Fly Fox Pro was saying.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Similar to Trump, as well. You know, that's why people flock to him. Geez, it's amazing when you seem genuine and honest. The people flock to you.
Yeah, and he was almost like an internet commentator, but on TV, because he was talking to people long before anybody else was like. I remember what was the name of the college? The Evergreen thing, right? The Evergreen College scandal that Brett and Heather Weinstein came out of. And Tucker was one of the first people to talk to them. Maybe put them right on TV on his show.
Uh,
And he's the type of guy who'll basically talk to anyone. Lunatics on there,
yeah.
whatever, it didn't matter.
Fly Fox says that's why people love Rick Piper. There's no pretense or fakery. It is all Rick. Oh, thank you. I try to be me. I don't like being fake. I think a lot of us in our community are that way.
Now, see, I don't try to be me. It just kind of comes out.
I said,
In fact, I feel like if I was trying, I'd be something other than me.
yeah, well, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Try trying to be yourself or being yourself, however you want to put it. You know, you don't try to be anybody else.
Listen, man, I've got too much other things on my plate, too many other things for me to put effort into than to try to be somebody else. Okay, that's got to be the one area where I don't put effort into things.
Yeah. Fly Fox says metal is metal. That's for sure. And if anybody out there wants to hop on the on air chat on the Discord to talk with us, feel free. Um, as usual, the Discord's always open pretty much for anybody. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't be a
No, that
jerk and you
reminds
won't
me.
kicked off.
I have an extra show this week.
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
I
that
almost
is that
forgot, and then
on?
you said people hopping on.
Is that the vomitorium itself
It
or
will be on
your?
that channel. Yeah.
Okay, because
Yeah, yeah.
that's with Chris and Diane of Hero Shack, which is
I
a
still
good.
did make a thumbnail for that.
Yeah, they're good people. They have good comics too. They're genuine. We were just actually, I was actually on their show about half an hour before this one started. They had a
Yeah.
God chat again, which they had one I think last week or a couple weeks ago, but other than that, they hadn't had one 6 7 months a God chat.
Well, I've never had an actual like conversation with either of them. I was already kind of familiar with Chris, though. I think we were already following each other for a while, even before you tried to set us up the
Uh,
last time. But it was only like Twitter things. Like I'd recognize his icon and I'd see Hero Shack and
yeah,
stuff. Like I recognize the character, but I don't think I've ever actually had a conversation. So it'll be interesting. I'm familiar with their stuff because I've obviously watched you talking to them and things like that. But
yeah. It's
I like
fun.
talking to anyone.
Yeah, it's funny actually how I got involved with them. Um, they were on their God chat thing before I knew about them. They were doing a thing on Christian comics, and apparently they had found out about me somehow. I don't know. I should actually ask that at some point. They probably actually told me, but I forget. And Lorenzo told me about it, so I went and checked it out, and then took me a couple weeks or whatever, and then I was finally in their audience, you know, in their chat for when they were doing some stuff on a Wednesday night or a Monday night. I forget what night because they had two shows at the time, and we started hitting it off from there.
I couldn't imagine how anybody hasn't heard of the infamous Rick Piper.
Yeah, I know it seems highly unlikely, but it is possible. Joshua's here, and he said, I think he said something earlier, so I shouldn't say he is here. It says Tucker would talk to anyone, even pink hedgehogs.
Oh
Cap,
yeah, those AI videos are so funny.
and we got Jeff eating some. Not Jeff. Captain Finity putting up some popcorn. Um, and Jeff and Flyfox saying hello to. Well, no, Flyfox says hello to Jeff, and Jeff says hello to Flyfox and Joshua. Rick, are you going to run for Parliament? No, I'm not that. I'm smart enough not to do that. I wouldn't be dumb enough to become a politician.
If you do too, you have to run for obviously the most important job and the most influential city comptroller.
City what?
The city comptroller.
What is that?
Oh, it's only the most important public office. There's also state comptrollers too, um, but it's the one that's in charge of like tax revenue and stuff like that.
Okay, we might have them, but I think they're under some sort of different name.
Oh, they might have a different name up there. I don't know, but here they call it the comptroller.
Or I think it's for city. I think it um everybody gets elected, and then they elect. Then once the board is made, somebody somehow they divide up who's going to do what jobs in the city.
Yeah.
Basic jobs.
Down here, comptroller is actually a boring job because we have no city taxes. So the job is literally just relegated to basically divvying out the state taxes that give given to the city.
Teach you French. About all I know is how to say hi, and I can count a little bit. I might recognize some words if I hear them. I took French in school for like 4 grades, 6, 7, 8, and I had to take it in high school, so grade 9. But I don't use it on a daily basis, or never used it on a daily basis. So it's not ingrained in my mind, so I don't really remember any of it or much of it at all.
That's because your brain is trying to reject the inferior language.
Yeah, that could be it too. Rest in peace. Don't move to Quebec. Well, there actually is some English speaking people in Quebec, but they
Is that the
probably
type of French they taught you too, or did they teach you like proper?
uh actually I think they taught proper French.
I'll be right back. I need to go help my mom with something.
Uh, yeah, I forget for sure which they taught us, but I'm pretty sure it was proper French. Although, don't say that to a Quebecer. They might have your hide. But yeah, there's some places that, or there's some English people who mainly speak English in Quebec, but not too many, obviously. Volez vous couche erect moi. Okay, something about yourself. Vol. The Vols is conjugated. I know it's conjugated a certain way. I forget how. Moi. Volez vous coucher avec moi. I know moi. There, I know how to say me. I know. If some stuff I know, I like amore is love. Oh, okay. I should have been doing some of this on the other thing. Yeah, maybe not. Okay, so what did you say? I know that I only know that because it's a song in the Marmalade song. Oh yeah. Well, then there's I don't know what it means again. I probably learned it at some point, but there is also uh of even Picard sang this in Star Trek. Alouette, chante alouette, alouette, chante alouette. And I really have no idea what I was just singing. I know it's not bad. Brother, I know there's a brother John, brother John. Uh, so do you know what you meant with what you wrote there from that song, Fly Fox? I know what it means. Okay, what does it mean? Uh,
I'm alive.
yay!
And I have pudding.
Uh, you have pudding?
Yeah?
You got the Joker there?
No. It's chocolate fudge and swirl.
Ah,
So
holy shit.
what else is new?
Oh, hey, Mighty. How are you?
I'm all right.
Long time no talk with.
I mean, has it been? You
uh,
didn't just see him recently?
I was waiting for my phone to charge.
Ah,
These snack packs do not split apart as good as they used to.
Uh-oh.
Let's see. Fly
We
Fox.
have
Fly
intruders.
Fox. Snack packs do not split apart as good as they used to.
We have. Oh. Oh, we got Fly Fox here too. Cool. Hey.
That's what I
Yeah.
said.
Is there a baby on your end, my friend?
That might be on Fly Fox's end.
That's what I'm talking to. That's what I'm talking to.
There better be. We need more babies in
Hello?
the world.
Hello.
Say hi. Say hello.
Yeah, we keep hearing a baby on your end.
Can you say hi?
Say hi.
No, he wants to be silent now.
Yeah,
He wants to.
of course.
Well, of course. Never fails. When you want them to talk, they never talk.
That's right.
Ninja, whose kid is that? That is Fly Fox's child. And of course, Fly Fox says it is generally interpreted as an invitation to Turst.
Trist.
We tryst.
What the heck is Trist?
I don't know. You can look it up.
If you have to ask, you don't want to know.
Okay. Oh, Massa Panda says, are there any crowdfunding campaigns you're looking forward to, Rick? I've been out of the loop a bit and haven't checked out any except for Dillard's Buckler Canadian Tussle campaign. Well, sort of looking forward to Metal's campaign when it comes available for his,
Yeah, when it actually becomes a campaign.
Wait, Metal's doing a campaign?
yeah.
I'm going to be. I'm in the pre-making stage.
Like, what's it going to be?
It's going to be a Next Item is Chaos magazine. A whole 96-page magazine with 2 feature comics, shorts, and a pulp in the middle.
Somebody's
Ooh.
excited.
Somebody's very excited.
Cool.
Yeah, I
I
put
think
the link to the blog post about it earlier, but if anybody wants to
Must be
help
new because
out-
I just read the blog not too long ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to remember when I put the blog out. It was 14th, so it's been sitting out for a little bit. Yeah, but if anybody wants to help out, they can fill out the
Read
reader
this.
interest survey, and they get to voice their opinion about like what stories and stuff end up in the magazine.
I think I actually did read this article now that I think about it. Yeah, I do remember this now.
But yeah. We're,
You're gonna have
gonna
to
be
buy
big
that
bag.
kid a copy of this magazine because he's so interested in it.
Yeah.
And of course, Timothy Olson's Melvin 3, I'm looking forward to, which launches July 29th. There is there's some way that you can get a sign up for it. He had to sign
yeah,
up.
he has a website.
Yeah, he had to sign up for it on the whatchamacallit page, but it wasn't working properly, so he had to do it separately somehow.
Here, I could probably find the link. I have DMs with him. It's probably in there.
Yeah, I probably got it. The sign up thing there too.
But anyway,
My DMs with him got buried through all the different people that I'm talking to.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
There. So, from Melvin 3 to know when things are happening. Of course, there's Chris's and Diane's one that's going on right now that over on Indiegogo that I would really recommend is Mangai Hoshoken. They're gonna
You
actually be,
should be.
yeah, they're going to be on um, Metal's show, the Vomitorium, on Friday.
Yes. I believe. Let me double check. It's probably 7 my time, so 7 central. I think that's when we agreed to it. Let me.
7 Central, yeah.
Let's see. Yes, 8 Eastern. So yeah, 7 central. That's when we're gonna be on the Vomitorium. There's actually already a what's it called? Event set up. People just want to put the notification on.
Yeah.
You can drop that in there.
Oh, I did the wrong one. I want my contributions, not my campaigns. I was actually the first backer on Mangai Hashokin.
Oh, cool.
So I'll put the link to that in the chat as well. And these guys really, if you guys are listening, these guys really need a push. They got a $1,300 goal, and they're right now struggling to meet it. They've only got about 170, I think, dollars or something, or 127. I forget that exactly how much. I could look because I just brung it up, right? 173 Canadian. So
Yeah.
Thank you, Massive Panda. At least somebody appreciates the name of the show.
no, nobody said we didn't appreciate the name of the show. We just think it's funny.
No, there are some people who don't appreciate this name of the show. I remember, you remember Kat, right?
Yeah.
Kat was like, I'd watch your show, but I hate the name. You're like, well, the name's there to weed people like you out then.
Well, see, I finally watched it and I was like, oh yeah, Metal's compelling and Marsupial's compelling. Like, why wouldn't I like this show?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll tune in and it's like a topic that I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and I'll listen. But if it's like something I don't care about, I'm like, yeah, not for me.
Yeah, that's the thing about the show is we're all over the place.
Yeah, you guys just be yourselves on it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's somebody that I'm not sure whether I'll see when I'm in Saskatoon and not know it. Will I remember her voice after not hearing it for 2 or 3 years? If she shows up there. She doesn't even know I'm going to be there as far as I know.
Don't be so sure.
Don't be so sure about what?
Women have their ways of finding out things.
Oh yeah, everybody does. Like I said, as far as I know, as far as I know, she's not watching or listening anymore to the streams. So.
Yeah. Well, the problem too is you probably wouldn't even recognize a person. Not just the voices, like people who don't show their faces and stuff. I think the only features of Kat I would have to recognize her at all is her voice and her hands, because I think during like pumpkin carving and certain other craft things, her hands are the only thing you've ever seen on a camera.
Yeah.
I still don't know what Rick looks like.
Recognize anyone by their hands and voice.
Voice I could, because I've recognized quite a few people by their voice, even technically after years. A guy that became like a brother to me, I'm not sure where he is now, but we went to grade school together, and then when we were I'm talking like grade 1, and then years later we met at a Christian coffee house, and I recognized him by his voice, and by this time we're like 17, 18 or whatever. So,
But it wasn't just Kat. There's been a lot of people. Even Marsupial's come up to me and he's like, could we change the name of the show? It's like, I like the name of the show. I've been running the show under the same name for years before you were on it.
And of course, that's all your response to Vomitorium is the greatest name for a show ever, says Massive.
It's like it has nothing to do with what we talk about. I'm like, what do you mean it has nothing to do with what we talk about? We're
Oh,
we're gonna
There's
put like
everything to do.
the word
explains
news
the whole
in the
thing.
name. Yeah, we're gonna put the word games. We don't only talk about games. We're gonna like pick one of the random things we talk about and put it into the name of the program.
No.
That seems so limiting.
But it describes the name of
Yeah.
the type of show. You just spew forth stuff.
Yeah.
With
The vomitorium. What do you expect? What were you expecting? Something clean? Something organized? Something orderly? No.
yeah,
The
well,
name alone tells me what I'm in for. I'm in for about 2 hours of utter chaos.
Yes. Chaos. That and it also it helps keep kids away from the content. Because I can be
True.
kid friendly, but I don't want to be on that
Want
show.
to be kid
And
friendly.
most kids can't even spell the word vomitorium, let alone pronounce it.
yeah, but that could draw them to it more. What is this?
if they ever find it.
Yeah, that's the better thing. Apparently we have good SEO though, and when we first started, if you typed in vomitorium, it would be hard to find us on the list. There'd be other things that beat it. Now we're like I think anywhere between the first to fifth thing that pop up.
Well, it had to happen.
Now
You
the
went
question is,
You met mainstream. That's what happened. If you're not a fit.
I just think there's
If you're no
very few
longer
things.
buried.
Yes, we're very low competition pool.
Yeah, and there's very few things named vomitorium.
Yeah, that's true.
So probably just in that probably makes it easy to find. You tell somebody vomitorium, look it up.
I also have a history for liking peculiar names. I mean, if you even just look at the name of my whole fiction world franchise comic thing, it's X Dynamis Chaos. It's like I just like these names. It might be
So,
obscure for some people.
Talk to you later.
Catch you later.
Later, Fly Fox. Thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Later.
I just like these weird things. I'm a weird guy.
And you've met some weird people.
Yeah. I feel like when you're weird enough, you kind of just like magnets start attracting each other.
So that would make what? That would make all of us weird. Then
It
again,
happens. We're making.
then
comments.
again, for most of us, we've been weird since infancy.
Yeah.
Guilty as charged.
Well, if you're an artist in any way, writing, illustration,
Shouldn't
performance, you're gonna
anything.
be weird. Yeah.
You're going to be considered an outsider among the normal folk.
I think you have to have like a certain level of weirdness to even be attracted to it in the first place.
True.
Yeah. Well,
Most of us will never pique the interest of the opposite sex because of our weirdness.
Oh well, I've never had that problem.
I said most. I didn't say all. Depending on where you live,
problem.
depending on where you live, will determine if that will be your problem.
I used to actually
Unfortunately,
have to chase them off with a stick back in school.
well, school doesn't count because that was a controlled environment.
There was nothing controlled about those cheerleaders.
Well, you had to be in the building with them for most of the day. That's why I say it's a controlled environment. By law, you had to be in the building with them.
Most of the chasing happened outside of the building.
Ninja says, at least Mighty Geek is speaking for himself.
Yeah.
No. Usually, usually the weird stuff happens after you get out of school.
No, dude, stuff never stopped. It was weird from beginning to now. Probably going to continue till the end.
I'm talking about the next level weird stuff, not the entry level. Ooh. Why do you think why do you think most kids who grew up in the '70s and the '80s joined the military?
Really good marketing.
Yeah, a little thing called G.I. Joe, a real American hero. The best piece of marketing the military never asked for. That's what. I mean, in that show, you had representatives of every branch of the military, including the Coast Guard.
Yeah, it was Shipwreck.
No, shipwreck was Navy. There was another guy who was Coast Guard.
See, I had the opposite effect. When I watched it, it made me not want to be in it more because I'm like, I know the real thing is nothing like this, and I'm going to be disappointed.
If you had all the toys and watched the show at the same time, yeah, you got hooked.
I guess because I didn't have all the I don't think I had any of the. Well, I might have had a couple action figures of it, but that's it.
All
Massive.
right, I had the toys, Marvel comics, and so on.
Massive says though weirdo geeks get made fun of by cool kids in school for being geeky. Then the geeks grow up to create the fandoms
Yeah,
that the cool kids
yeah,
pretend to be fans of when being
well,
geeky.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Ooh,
And then Ninja says, and then there was Robotech, which had a much more realistic take on war.
yes. And again, if you really wanted to know what the Navy was like, Robotech was your way in.
See, I think there lies the difference, though. I was always considered a weirdo. I was never considered a geek. And
I
part
was
of that
always
might have
considered a
been
geek.
I was just too athletic and good at things. Right? So like, the town was really small when I first ended up there, and it grew over time. Now it's huge by comparison. I think there's like 50,000 people in there, which sounds ginormous compared to when I moved into the town. But like, between like Boy Scouts and a bunch of other things, I was a very well-known person. So like, I could go anywhere and people would just like, there's the legendary Tommy McGrath. So it's probably not the typical experience for most people that are into like geeky stuff.
No. As most of us were declared geeks in 5th grade.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got called a geek. I was just a nerd to most people. And I don't think I did anything nerdy.
You didn't have
You
to do
never
anything dirty.
do.
You never do anything dirty.
The person who does the nerdy things never think they do anything nerdy.
Yeah, but well,
The same with the person who does the geeky things. It's always, this is very interesting.
when I was in grade 5 and 6, 7, 8, that's where I really got it. Nerd, but I never wasn't into any of the role playing games, or whatever. I didn't. I don't think I watched anything quote unquote nerdy. I watched everything everybody else was probably watching. Dukes of Hazard, A Team, stuff like that.
Those things weren't considered nerdy. Anything on in prime time was not considered nerdy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How early in your life did you have glasses?
Oh, from early on.
Mm,
Well, I was
yeah.
supposed to, but a lot of times I lost them or broke them, and it'd be months before I got a pair again.
I knew a pair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we were poor, couldn't afford them. Or me and my mom were, but my grandparents sometimes paid for a pair or whatever. Because they were
Uh-huh.
a little bit more well off than us.
And how early on in your life did you express the desire to make comic books?
That probably wouldn't have been until my teens. Mid
Oh, young man, I got into young man, I was younger than you when I got into comic books. Hmm.
I did.
You like-
I don't even think.
I started drawing from comic books when I was about 6 years old.
I didn't start buying comic books till I was in high school. Well, maybe I had some before then but that would have been just Archie. But I wasn't even drawing.
Doesn't matter.
I wasn't even I didn't bring them to school or anything. I don't even think I let anybody know I read them. And it wasn't out of people thinking about me as a nerd or a geek. It was just I was a bit of a loner, but more because I got teased from a young age too, so
Mm-hmm.
and not for being
Welcome to the
necessarily-
club, my friend.
Yeah, and not for necessarily being a geek or a nerd. Just I got teased.
You got teased for being different.
Yeah, that's probably more. along-
Basically, you were an X-Men and didn't know it.
Yeah. Probably my Christianity, although I'm not sure how outspoken I was outspoken about it. But that's probably the biggest thing, even with me in school. Except for, like I said, having glasses. So maybe just because you had glasses, they assumed you were a nerd. I don't know.
You got called 4 eyes and a nerd for wearing glasses.
Yeah.
Not because you needed them, just because you wore them.
Yeah. Because I wasn't a bookworm at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything like that. I wasn't into.
Maybe I got called a nerd for being a bookworm. Again, I got bored easily in school, so
Oh, that too. I definitely got bored in school. Well, I didn't like school.
Same.
and then one kid here that did.
I got teased there, so I didn't like it,
See, I had a very interesting relationship in school where I hate it. Still now, I hate it. But I hated it slightly less than I hated being at home.
It was the only time you got to go out. It was the only time you got to go outside and then get in trouble for it.
No, almost the opposite. Because when I was younger too, there was times where my mom used to lock us outside in the summers because she didn't want to deal with us. It was just when we were young, it was a rough home life, and it's like, well, at school at least I get to see my friends,
Yeah.
right? And I have some relative amount of freedom, even though you're supposed to be quiet in class. A lot of times I could be louder in class than I could be at home. Which is also why, like, between life period, I just didn't spend a lot of time at home. So, like, after school was done, I'd go home, I'd change, and then I would just leave again. Because for most of my high school, we had dress code. So I had to wear, like, turtleneck, not turtle, oh god, what are those collared shirts? Polo shirts. I'd wear polo
Yeah.
shirts and khaki slacks. So I'd go home, I'd change into comfortable clothes, and then I would just leave for the rest of the evening until it was like time to come back for dinner or bed or anything. And I would just be hanging out with my friends. I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be at school either. Both of those were like the last places I wanted to be.
Ninja says, "Nerd." Well, that's been there
And
for
I
a
did
little-
like nerdy things too. Like I'm not even saying I wanted. I just was never in that circumstance where people called me nerds. I used to live action role play in the park, but then even other people liked it because when they saw it wasn't a bunch of people yelling fireball and dressing up in night outfits. A lot of it was us basically sparring in sports combat. Like I'd come up with a rule system, and it's very athletic. I don't even think most people would have been able to do it. And it's probably because I'm really pedantic about everything that I do, that when I end up doing something, it just looks different than what most people decide to do.
Yeah.
Oh, sort of on that thing. Any idea when things might be starting up?
For what, the campaign or whatever,
Yeah,
or are you
well,
talking about the RPG campaign?
the RPG campaign.
I don't know. I was talking to Dillard about it recently.
And what did he say?
Well, it really didn't matter what he said, since I'm the one running it. But I was mostly asking his opinion the same way I asked Rick before, because I am probably going to be changing the format in which we play
Okay.
when we start it back up. We're getting rid of map combat because I hate map combat. I think it ruins tabletop games. And we're gonna
Okay, what are you gonna base it on? D&D, best and
Oh no, we have a what's like a private module. It's its own rule set. It's called it's a Final Fantasy tabletop rule set, and we're probably going to go more back into like a theater of the mind type thing for most of everything. A lot less work on my part for setting up all the sessions for the stream.
Yeah, because you were doing a lot of
Oh god, all those maps.
graphics for it.
But not only will it be less work in that regard, I think it will be more fun. Because map combat can be cool when you've got people who are already used to playing tabletop games. They're already used to actually like role playing and getting into character. And to some degree, after 100 hours in that campaign, you could say that even the newbies are more used to it now. But there are a lot of people, Rick, I think, being one of them for the most part, Flit, and I think it was somebody else. But like for like half of you, it was basically your first campaign, like your first full campaign
Yeah.
in any tabletop game. And because of the way the maps were set up and everything, and even the system, it got a little gamey. Right, there was more of the game part and less of the role playing part. Very play it like a video game, and I think doing more of the theater of the mind stuff can help alleviate that, and could also help you guys come up to more creative solutions to things at times.
Yeah.
And it
Oh,
actually forces
what
you to
type of
talk through things instead of just moving your character.
So what type of dice are we using in this game?
Primary dice is 2d10s for a d100 roll. It's a percentage-based system, but it uses the full set for different things.
So I need to get a set of D10 dice.
Well, we play it on Roll20 when we play, so everything's right there digitally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Mighty Geek's trying to ask whether he can get in on this.
Yeah. I'll just send me a link.
Maybe, because I don't think Tim will ever be able to come back in, so I guess there has been a missing slot.
Yeah, you'll have to, well, maybe get with Metal sometime and to help make up your character for it.
Oh, yeah, that's the hard part. So unlike a lot of systems, this system, it does take a while to make a character because of how in-depth it is. One of the reasons it's not too bad, though, is because the only type of death in this game is narrative death, which we've had people die. My friend Buck's character died in the most heroic way possible. He suplexed a god off of an airship and went down like 1,500 feet to the ground, and they both died from the impact.
Yeah.
Ninja says sounds like fun. Yeah, between mine and Metal's stream, they're all. I know it's still all up on my thing. If you go back, or we have there's like a year's worth of 6 months to a year worth of episodes.
Yeah, the original campaign was designed to take like 35 hours of gameplay to do. I think, because you did some extra stuff afterwards before moving on to the second chapter, but it took you guys at least twice that.
At least I'd say.
At least. Well, after all the extra stuff too, it had passed 100 hours.
I mean, even before the extra stuff, I think we're at more like 200 hours.
No, it didn't yet. I was able to count up all of the.
Oh, you guys were going for an epic game.
Yeah, it was the problem was it was going to be an epic anyway, but it wasn't going to be this long. Again, a lot of new people, and they decided instead of getting, they didn't realize that you get experience from doing things other than combat because they're only used to video games. Yeah. So they decided to grind all of their levels.
Or a lot of our levels.
From like fighting mobs as opposed to like role playing and stuff. There was even a point where like Dillard had to dip out for a little bit because of family stuff, so he would miss like a session or two here and there. Yet his character was actually ahead in levels compared to some of the other characters who were there every single session because he was actually role playing more than everybody else.
Than doing combat. Yeah.
Flit, I think, was the person who was ahead of everyone, but Flit also role played a lot.
In my experience, the whole point of a role playing game is to role play.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I remember one time.
I got a little bit better as time went on. I think.
Oh yeah. I was gonna, not you, but you were in this situation, so you're not the one I'm throwing shade at. But there was this one time where I believe it was Rick and Marsupial were both at a temple, basically waiting for Dillard's character to come back from the other world or something like that, because there's like a light world, dark world type thing going on, and they camped out in this temple, and they had plenty of time to interact. I think Rick even was trying to take like the opportunity because he figured out that you start to get more experience by role playing, try to start a conversation, figure out like Marsupial's character's backstory and stuff, get to know each other a little better, and he's just like, oh yeah. Didn't give him anything to work off.
Yeah, Marsupial didn't give me anything to work off. It's like, really?
At all. I even gave you, like, I couldn't give you too much because there wasn't anything that happened, but I gave you some, like, consolation points for that situation because you at least tried.
It's like... Well,
and he was wondering why he was, like, the lowest level out of everybody.
Well, he didn't do it. I did. I think you said I did the most development of my character.
Yes, your character did develop the most out of everyone. I don't know how much of a compliment that is if we look at where your character started, but you as a player and your character developed the most out of everyone.
Oh, you are more developed than everyone else. Interesting.
No, I think hands down, anybody who watched, and most of the players agree, that the best character, best player character in that campaign was Borovo, Flit's character.
Yeah.
And the Flit was also like brand new. It was his first time ever actually playing a tabletop RPG, but he started adapting to it like a fish in water.
Most people who are truly get into it do adapt very quickly.
And it's going to be very interesting if and when we ever get back, because Flit's character and Rick's character, well, Rick's character doesn't hate Flit's character, but Flit's character hates Rick's character.
What did you do, Rick?
I did nothing. He's just perceived me the wrong way. He's not used to the way my character thinks.
So to give you kind of like the rough details on it, the lowdown, Flit's character Borovo is a kind of like a cleric type character, right? He's like a priest in training. He's trying to be a healer, and he's going off in the world to figure out where this blight came from that is harming his village, and he finds out that actually like the main story of the campaign is related to that, so that's why he's trying to save the world. And he has like a very rigid moral compass, and honestly doesn't look very fondly on most of his party members, because he finds most of them to be degenerates. Rick's character is kind of supposed to be a upstanding, moral, knight-like character. At least that's kind of what he said his character was when he wrote it. And his description of his character and the way he plays his character don't mesh with the way the character of Borovo perceives his actions. The thing is, Flit actually really likes Rick and the way Rick plays his character. In fact, to him, dealing with Manly Cougar is the best part of the campaign, but he has to play his character to the way his character should perceive it.
Right.
Joshua says, I found it hard to pay attention to the streams because of the infrequent role playing.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of the sessions did just end up either being shopping sessions, which, yeah, everybody loves watching shopping sessions. They could, though, if you actually interact with the NPCs and make it interesting.
It could
or
be.
a lot of it was just like combat sessions with a lot of dice rolling and deciding to do this move or that move. Hopefully the next version of it, the next campaign, will be a lot more interesting, even for the viewer.
yeah. Okay, so what came of you talking with Dillard anyways about...
Oh, it was mostly just telling him about my plans to change it, and he was all for it because it's closer to how he would have preferred to play the game from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, if I knew that this is how the map combat would have been interpreted too, it's probably how I would have chose to play it from the beginning as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure how I would have interpreted the reverse way from the beginning either.
Well, it would have been a lot closer, just obviously with the dice rolls and the stats and all that, to like those improv sessions that we did. Which Dillard loved the improv sessions that we did.
I'm sure he did.
I'm actually thinking about just bringing that back. So I don't know if I'll be ready anytime soon with all the other stuff I'm working on anyway, even to bring the campaign back in that lighter format. But I might just have a role-playing night on the Vomitorium where we just pick a night of the week. I don't know, maybe Monday or something like that. Maybe Sunday we can go back to the old day. Sunday I don't really want to complicated because it's fun to hop on Mike stream. Monday seems like a good day for me, so we might do it Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we might just do very short, anywhere between like 2 to 3 hour
Monday wouldn't
sessions.
work for me. Probably wouldn't work for Rick either.
Well, it depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
We do the draw streams on Mondays. Remember?
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
draw streams on Monday. I'll find a night. I don't know. But
Thursday?
maybe Thursday. Thursday's not that bad for me.
Not
Thursday
bad
would
for
be
me
free.
either.
But we'll pick a night, and I'll probably just do just a tabletop night. We might vary it, but I think for the most part is we might start with a improvised campaign and just kind of feel our way through it. Some characters may die periodically. If somebody dies, they can just roll up a new character or whatever. In fact, we probably won't even use rolling for the most part. We'll probably only use rolling for decisions that I don't feel comfortable making as a game master. For the most part,
Okay.
I'll just be talking through everything.
Maybe I can revive a character I created a few years ago. The blind wandering monk.
And no, Rick, I'm not going to let you bring back your half orc with the wrist mounted crossbow.
Now that would go up against my shapeshifter, whose who always walks the world as a human, but his primary form is that of a dragon.
I was gonna ask, are we ever gonna go back to that campaign?
No, that was supposed to be a one shot. If you're talking about the improv one, if you were talking about the D&D one, maybe. I wasn't really feeling it. I do have an an out of the box D&D campaign that they started. That I actually did pay money for. And it was supposed to kind of be like something we could do as a fill-in or whatever. But we just never did it. And to be honest, I don't like 5e, and it was kind of already just frustrating me being in.
Oh, you don't like the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons?
I vaguely dislike it less than 4th edition.
Understandable. I don't think anyone liked the 4th edition of Dungeons and Dragons.
You know, that's what I thought, but I've actually met people who love it, and I'm like, are you okay in the head?
That's what I say. That's what I say, because at certain points, the 4th edition doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so I found that the people I've met that love it because it's broken, and they basically want to treat it like a video game, and they want to play really broken builds. And I'm like,
Oh,
to each their own, but to me that doesn't make a very good role-playing experience.
it doesn't.
And I'm
Well,
fine with
that's
broken
what
stuff,
happens.
but
But that's
only
what
if
happens when you
the-
take 3rd edition and put a battle axe to it.
Yeah. Like I'm fine with players having broken options as long as the game is still weighted in the favor of the DM.
Yeah.
One of the things I actually hate about 5th edition is unless the DM actually really, really takes the unspoken rule of the DM is always right, and actually just starts
Yeah.
like gutting things without consent of the players are just so overloaded in 5th
Exactly.
edition that like the DM just doesn't have options at times.
No, I heard the 5th edition was more broken than the 4th at certain points.
Yeah, and it didn't feel that way at first because it needed to roll back and catch back up. It's kind of like Crisis of the Infinite Earths, where it's like, oh, the universe is just, it's too powerful, Superman's too strong, all these characters is too cosmic, we need to roll the clock back. You're like, okay. And then by the time the new Earth ends, it was even more powerful than
Exactly.
the last one. You're like, what was the point?
There was no point. That's the whole problem.
Oh, Joshua said a few minutes back, Borovo was the best character.
Easily.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's like
Easily
saying
the best
Spy
character.
Tom is the best character.
And I've got to go. Well, I actually at some point got to go over those streams of stuff because I was supposed to be writing some notes down or whatever, getting notes
Yeah.
on stuff.
Well, also, like, easily the best moment of the entire campaign was between Borovo and here we go. What was Rick's character's name? Manly Cougar.
Manly Cougar. Also, that's where Man Likes Cougar comes from.
No, it came from the Canadian Shield first. He just put him in the world.
Yeah, as best
But
as I can.
there was a really interesting part where we will
I'm
lose,
sure
we
there's
will
an
lose
interesting
this.
story behind that.
Yeah. We will lose this aspect without the map combat, but I do think it's still for the best. Sometimes
Well,
the characters
sometimes-
would just the players would just move their characters around the map when we're in a town, even though like the map is supposed to mostly just be there for representation when we're in a town.
Right.
Unless I don't know they piss off the local guards and end up in a fight. But aside from that, it's just there for representation. And people would try to role play, they'd shop or do whatever, and the other people get bored. And Flit's character Borvo got drunk, and he was bored, and he just started like moving him inside the oasis in the desert. And I'm like, Flit, is Borvo out there swimming? He's like, yeah, I thought I'd just have him go for a swim. It's like, I'm gonna need you to roll me a swimming check, which his character had no swimming skill, and it led to a drunken midget drowning in an oasis almost, and he didn't know if he even wanted to live anymore because of all the stuff that his characters went through. Right? And Rick went out there to try to save him, and he resisted, and at a certain point they both almost went under.
Yeah,
if it wasn't for like some of the stats that Rick's character had, and it just it was a really funny mess.
And the thing is, my character is like 8 feet tall.
Yeah.
This 2 foot.
Yeah, I think he was a yard even, so he's like 3 feet.
Okay, this 3 foot character ends up almost gets this 8 foot character to drown.
Well, he crit the skill check.
So either way, one of them was going to die that night.
No, they were fine. Dillard's character came over, and he's got like the highest intimidation skill anybody could possibly have, and he crit on it. So he just yelled at Borovo and told him to get out of the lake, and they all left.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be easy. My character go over, pick Borovo up, and
They toss him out.
yeah, something to that effect. But somehow,
When you do a skill against another player, you both have to roll on that stat to see who wins the skill check, right? And
Right.
because it's a percentage system and they have a skill, it's not only who is lower or closer to 1, but also who's further away from their threshold. And he crit.
yeah, we
and
both.
Rick didn't.
I think we both crit or both. Well, I crit in the wrong way.
He botched. Yeah.
It was crazy, like.
And technically, I should have made Flit roll intimidation when Dillard yelled at him. But because Dillard had already crit, it's like, well, because his is so high, even if Flit crits, Dillard still wins. Because they would have both crit, so there's really no point in making Flit roll here.
It was just hilarious.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Like the chances of something like that happening in real life.
Yeah. Go away, you stupid bird.
And then of course, yeah, Metal made a video out of it.
I did. And I should go grab that and put it in the chat for people who haven't seen it. I believe it's still the pinned video on my channel. Yes, it is. So like if anybody just goes to my channel, it's the first thing they see.
Send me a link to your Send me a link to both of your channels.
Well, there's the link to the direct video on that channel. I've got too many channels. That's my problem. But I also do too many different types of content. And back when I started doing content, there was this whole thing where you basically, if you wanted to grow any channel, you had to only have like one type of content on it. And if you wanted to do something like if you wanted to branch off into gaming videos, you had to actually make a different channel for gaming. If you wanted to be like a musician and a sketch person, you had to have different channels for your sketches and musicians, music and stuff. So I have a lot of channels. Some of them are basically dead, but I have a lot of channels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But here's also the Vomitorium for anybody who's not subscribed to that.
Yeah. And I think you were asking for the Metal channel too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he clicks on that video, it'll be right
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are. I like doing those Saturday afternoon things. Or Sunday afternoon, sorry. Mighty Geek's listening to it now, or watching it.
Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah. Okay. Subscribe to both. This way.
I thought you would have been subscribed to Metal by now, or for the Vomitorium, that is, at least.
Yeah. Okay. Done and done. Cause it would be nice to do a role play on stream. I'm sure Chris would be head over heels for it.
Sorry, I had to walk away for a second. This really annoying cat wanted to be let outside even though it's raining. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? It's your funeral.
Well, it's nighttime. What do you expect?
It's also the only way she uses a restroom because she refuses to use a litter box like the other cats.
Smart cat.
Ninja says, I've never RPD'd on a stream.
Role played. I have done a lot of role playing on stream.
So Metal, what's the limit on the character classes?
There's a whole rule set for it. I could drop that in the chat too. Let's see, where's the link to it? There it is.
Yeah. And then he's.
They're all Final Fantasy classes.
You're doing this partially too because you want to set up your own stuff for your own characters or whatever. An RPG for in the X Dynamis Chaos.
Oh yeah, I am also building my own tabletop game. That's kind of on the back burner with all the other stuff I'm working on right now, but that is something I'm doing.
Yeah, so that like I said, I'd like to do that and play that one day whenever he gets it done.
Yeah.
Who knows? That might even just be what we do for the improv stuff. It might be loose, but I might use a lot of the principles and fundamentals I'm using in that game as a way to test them around.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we do something like that, I'm probably just going to turn it into a game show almost. Like it's going to be a role-playing game show. You may not
Okay.
even know. You may not even know where you're going. I might just send you on missions. I might put like a spinner wheel on that might like pick the location you guys are going to.
Yeah, like I said, that was the only thing I didn't like about the Dungeons and Dragons movie is they didn't have any of the battles that you fight the wolves or whatever on your way to
Right.
Yeah.
or a group of goblins or orcs or something, on the way down
Mhm.
different places.
You have to understand. You have to understand one thing, Rick. Doing a movie based on Dungeons and Dragons, you have to pick. It's so open ended that there's no definitive story. So
You know what? I'm going to
Yeah.
counterpoint. They should have just done Dragonlance.
they should. Yeah, that would have been easier.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, based on, I think it would have added to the movie, and like I said, a battle just that it means nothing really.
Yeah.
No,
No, you
it
would like
doesn't.
that. You would like an adaptation
like
of
it.
Dragonlance then because they have that just written into the novels.
Right.
Yeah, having
So
play,
that's why I said Dragonlance would have been easier.
I get the role playing part, but having played it so much, that's just part of the game, running into this
Mhm.
random mob that you know doesn't do much for your character. Yeah, maybe you get experience, but
Yeah.
but other than that, it doesn't do much for you either. Probably sometimes there's a little bit of role playing in those things, sometimes not. Depends on how
True.
fast they go or whatever.
How fast you want it to go? Yeah.
Yeah. But then again, most people watching a Dungeons and Dragons movie doesn't know about that. Heck, I watched the cartoon a little bit as a kid, although I never watched every episode. And I don't think they put any of those random battles in there.
They didn't. Everything you
No,
everything you liked
that
about
cartoon
Dungeons and
was
Dragons was,
very.
was never in that cartoon.
Yeah, yeah. They gave people actually a really bad impression of what
Bad
D&D is
story.
like.
Looking at the story now, it's very bad.
Yeah, it's just a Western isekai.
Mm-hmm.
And every kid's like, ooh, maybe if I hop on a ride, I'll end up in a different world where I'll be some magic superhero.
You're right.
Yeah.
The only two interesting characters in that show was Venger and Dungeon Master.
Oh, nobody could see it except maybe somebody in our call was paying attention because I think I had my camera on. But no, the viewers couldn't see the call. On the very first session that we did, I actually came wearing a cloak.
I forget whether I remember that or not. Yeah, I have pretty much every session. I think one got messed up or whatever.
Yeah, you have more than I do because it took me a while to set up a way where I could capture what you guys see and not what I see as the dungeon master.
Yeah.
So like for the first few sessions or so, it wasn't streamed on my end.
Yeah, and Marsupial also streamed it too on his channel.
Then he stopped after I picked up because the main reason he was doing it was because I wasn't, and sometimes the audio on your end was pretty bad. So he was basically offering an alternative viewpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, my stuff, audio, and all that was bad back then. Oh wow.
Here, I know we're about to end, but if you want, I can actually pull it up and show you what the what's it called? My assets and stuff. Because I was doing this for another group that wanted me to run it, and I was going to do that in the background because it was going to be way easier to do than the stuff I had to prepare. And I actually wasn't going to have to prepare anything for that other group except for some quick assets. But now I'm just going to use the same assets for our stuff because we're just going to do it that way and it'll be easier.
Yeah, hold on a sec. Yes, Paul?
Yeah.
Just on my stream, doing my thing. Almost gonna end with Metal and Mighty Geek are on the panel.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you guys something real quick, but I have to log into Roll20 to show you.
Well, I'm
also just kind of reading to see who might be in there. I don't see Lorenzo as much.
yeah, well, he's busy doing whatever.
Here, let me share my screen.
Okay, and I got it so people can see you now. on
Yeah.
stream. No, not
Let's see,
you.
this is
I'm
the right
talking to
one.
Metal.
Yeah, okay. So, oh, somebody drew a mustache on the character. Yeah, so this was the other people's. And I can pull you over. This one actually only has like 3 scenes aside from the title screen. So basically the way we're gonna run it is zoom out. Oh, come on. Zoom out. I'll just have basically some very cheap location for you guys to see for whatever zone you're in, so that you can help your theater in your mind picture what's going on. So this would be like, say, a town on the water.
Okay.
And I have a bunch of different assets. I can switch what the background is as you guys go to different scenes and things like that. Very easy. And then for walking around, the one thing that I actually did spend some time on was whenever it decides to switch.
So we won't be able to see like position of enemies on the battlefield with the new way, right?
Well, to a degree. You'll at least be able to understand where they are, but you're still gonna have to talk your way through it, and I'll have to explain things to you. One of the only other scenes is that I actually made a 2-scale world map for them. I'll have a different one for you guys.
Oh.
But when I say 2-scale, right, you can see if I take the ruler, things are actual distances from each other, so that does say miles. And the last scene, and this is the thing that makes everything easier, because Rick will remember the thing that took us the longest for every single battle was recording initiative. And I have a little initiative chart on the side where people will be able, after they roll their initiative, they will be able to pick up their token and move it to the slot where they're supposed to be. And then I can move the enemies there too, or put like a dot or something. And then we've got all the initiative. And I can put a spot where people's health bars and stuff are there. We can show status ailments and stuff down here so people can keep track of their party very well. But everything else will just be theater of the mind. So it looks like a normal Final Fantasy battle scene.
So is that what
if you want to know what you're doing in the... Yes, that's what it's going to look like. If you want to know like where you are in regard to your enemies or whatever, you got to pay attention and we have to talk it through.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can deal with that.
And that's how the game's going to be when we get back to it.
Yeah, which hopefully it'll be sometime this year. Probably not, but
I would hope. I don't know. I got a lot of stuff to work on.
yeah, I know what you mean.
But the thing is, once I get the map done for this, right? That's the biggest asset, because I still haven't done a finalized world map, which was the big thing that never got done. Once I get the map done for it, everything else is quick. So once I have time to make that final map and set up just the starting stats for things,
Yeah.
then we can go back into rolling into the game.
Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's all I want to show you.
Okay.
Okay. So with that,
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to say goodnight.
anything that you would like to promote, Mighty?
Not at this time.
Okay. Metal.
Yeah, the same thing I was promoting. I'll just repost the link at the bottom of the chat. But oh my god, it didn't copy. Come on. Why would you do this to me? But it's a magazine. Yeah. And I want some support for it because the magazine is being made for people to read. It's not. It's being made for me because I want to make it, but it's being made for you, so you have something fun to read. And we'll have comics and other stories and gags and things like that. It'll be 96 pages of fun, right?
Okay.
So support it by reading my blog article about it, so you know what's coming up. Sharing it with people, filling out the survey, which I know both of you have already, but talking to the audience. And if you're an overachiever, if you want early rewards, if you want to be following things in a private newsletter that only the overachievers get, you can also donate as little as $5 early, which will also guarantee you a digital version, even if you don't back the physical one when it goes live, among other things.
Yeah, and that's gonna. I guess you're gonna do that on Fund My Comic, or do you know yet?
Yes, it will be on Fund My Comic, which it does say that in the blog post.
Yeah. So okay, I guess that's about it. Well, thanks guys for coming.
Which I was going to do on there anyway,
Yeah.
but it turns out they actually do have a section for magazines.
Cool. Well, again, thank you guys for coming on. Thanks, Flyfox, for coming on earlier, and I think there was another person. I forget who. Oh no, Ninja. Ninja was on for a bit, wasn't he?
It was.
It must have been when I walked away.
It was for a little bit. No,
Yeah.
Flyfox was on for a little bit also.
Yeah. So, and thanks everybody in the chat for stopping by and chilling out with us. We will be back, of course, next week, and who knows what else. We're going to be on Chris's tomorrow, and who knows what else. So, we'll catch you all later. Bye for now. God bless. Have a great, wonderful day, night.